I found out my stepmom was trying to kick me out of my own house, so I evicted my entire stepfamily after years of being treated like their servant. Hi everyone, I need to get all of this off my chest. My name's Alex, 21 male, and this whole story started way back, though I only found out just how deep it went recently. When I was 6, my mom passed away after a battle with cancer. After she was gone, it was just me and my dad. It wasn't an easy time, but my mom's parents, my grandparents, were there for us in a big way. They were amazing. To make daily life easier, they actually bought a house for the 3 of us, my dad, my grandparents, and me. Little did I know at the time, but they had secretly put the house in my name, held for me in a legal trust, not telling me because I was just a kid back then. Life went on for a while in this new arrangement, with my grandparents taking care of me as much as my dad did. But 5 years later, when I was 11, things changed. My dad remarried a woman named Denise, 40F, who had 2 kids from her previous marriage, Tyler, then 15, and Rachel, 11, just my age. At first, Denise was sweet and friendly. She smiled a lot, brought me little gifts, spoke in soft tones, as if she wanted me to trust her. When she, Tyler, and Rachel moved in with us, plus my grandparents and dad, the house felt crowded, but it worked, at first. My grandparents were getting older, and soon after Denise came, my grandpa passed away. About 2 years after that, Grandma fell sick, and then she was gone too. Losing them was devastating. They were like a second set of parents to me. After Grandma passed, everything in the house started to shift. Denise's behavior changed, or maybe that was always her, and it was just more obvious now. It started with little things. My mom and grandparents had set up the house in their own way. The photos on the wall, special keepsakes, the colors on the walls. Denise started changing everything. One day, I came home from school to find the living room painted a color my mom would have hated, and some old family pictures were missing from the wall. I asked Denise what happened to them, and she said, "Oh, Alex, they were old and dusty. We need to make this our house now." She smiled, but it felt fake. I eventually found those pictures boxed up in the garage, under some junk, so I took them to my room. Then the keepsakes started disappearing. My grandma had a little glass bird she loved, always displayed in the kitchen. One day, it vanished. Denise said, "It must have broken and got thrown out," but I knew it wasn't broken. She just didn't want it there. Soon enough, anything belonging to my mom's family slowly vanished from the house. When I complained, Denise would brush it off, saying I was being sensitive, or that I was stuck in the past. My dad, who hated arguing, kept quiet. By the time I hit 13, Denise started giving me more chores. I'd always handled my own laundry and tidied my room, but now there were lists. Cleaning the kitchen every night, vacuuming the whole house every Saturday, and helping with all the grocery shopping. Tyler and Rachel never did much around the house. Denise always had an excuse. Tyler was focused on his high school studies, and Rachel, even though she was the same age as me, was supposedly too young for heavy chores. As time went on, things only got worse. At 16, I was doing almost all the cooking because, according to Denise, she was always too tired after her part-time job at a clothing store. I had a job too, working most afternoons and weekends at a coffee shop, but I still had to rush home to cook for everyone and do most of the chores. Tyler graduated high school and went to community college for a year before dropping out, claiming he was starting his own online business. As far as I could tell, he mostly sat in his room playing games and networking. He's 25 now and still living at our place. Rachel, who's my age, is officially in college with an apartment closer to school, paid for mostly by my dad, but she hardly uses it, preferring to lounge around our house, waking up late, taking selfies for Instagram and shopping online, all while Denise handed her extra spending money. My dad paid her rent and Denise gave her gifts, but neither she nor Tyler did anything to help around the house. Anytime I questioned why I alone had to pull the weight, Denise would blow up at me, yelling, "You live here, don't you? You eat the food, don't you? This is your family. You have to contribute." Sometimes she'd turn on the waterworks and tell my dad I was being mean to her. My dad would just tell me to keep the peace. There were some ugly moments. Once when I was about 17 and down with the flu, Denise barged into my room to tell me dinner still had to be cooked. When I told her I was too sick, she accused me of faking it, yanked the covers off me, and started shouting. My dad stepped in and the 2 of them fought for over an hour. Afterward, my dad quietly brought me some soup. Nothing more was said. Another time, Denise tossed out a box of my mom's old books, my favorites. I found them outside in the trash. When I brought them in, she saw me. Her face turned red, and she ripped the pages out right in front of me. "You're obsessed with dead people. Move on already," she screamed, and shoved me into the wall. My dad was at work. Tyler and Rachel watched, Tyler with disinterest and Rachel actually recording for a moment before laughing and leaving. I kept my head down, worked, and studied for a college degree online, saving every penny I could, though I didn't know why yet. Roughly 2 months ago, Denise came up to me holding a piece of paper. Looking very official, she told me, "We need to talk about your contribution to this household." She told me, since I was grown, I'd have to start paying $700 a month in rent, plus a share of utilities. I was stunned. I asked if Tyler and Rachel would also pay. Denise's expression went stone cold. "That's none of your business. Tyler is working on his career. Rachel is in school and needs our support. You're different because you have a stable job." I told her I needed to think it over. She said I didn't get a choice. It would start next month. That night, lying awake, it all hit me. After years of doing everything, they now wanted to charge me as a tenant, while Denise's own kids lived for free. I thought of my grandparents, and then I remembered something. After Grandma died, I'd overheard my dad and my aunt, my mom's sister, talking about trust documents and the house. I hadn't understood back then. The next day, I looked for all the old family paperwork. The important documents were kept in a locked box in the study. My grandma had always hidden the key in the same place. Inside, I eventually found a document folder with my name on it. Legal paperwork showing the house transferred outright to me after my grandma's passing. No claims or loopholes. No one else, not Denise, not even my dad, had any rights to the house. It was all mine. I made copies and set the originals back, took a deep breath, and that evening asked my dad and Denise to sit down for a talk without Tyler or Rachel. As calmly as I could, I explained that I'd found papers proving ownership of the house was mine alone, as established by a trust. My dad went pale and just looked at his hands. He'd known and kept quiet. Denise scoffed at first, but changed instantly when I showed her copies of the documents. She tried to laugh it off. "Old papers, they don't change anything. We're family." But my dad confirmed it was real. After she left the room, I heard Denise whispering angrily to my dad in the kitchen about how I was too young to own a house and that he had to make me move out. She said, "You need to talk to him. We can't live with this hanging over us. Get him out." I recorded her, knowing it might be important. That was the last straw for me. This wasn't a family. I was just the help, and now they wanted me out of my own house. The following week, I saw a lawyer who confirmed my rights. He drafted a formal 60-day eviction notice stating Denise, Tyler, and Rachel had to leave. I handed Denise her copy and gave one to my dad for the others. Denise lost it, shouting, tearing the letter up, and hurling the pieces at me, calling me a monster and threatening revenge. Tyler swaggered out, saying what I was doing was illegal, and Rachel had a meltdown, shrieking that I was ruining her life. My dad sat in silence. When they didn't make arrangements to leave after the 60 days, I moved forward with legal eviction. Karen actually tried to challenge it in court. Her lawyer said I was unstable, and she caused a dramatic scene, sobbing and threatening to hurt herself. But the judge sided with me. It was my house, and they had no lease or legal claim. Over the next few months, I watched my family fall apart. Tyler was the first to storm out after a fight, moving in with friends and getting a job at a big box store, apparently. Rachel, always dramatic, wailed for hours before packing her things and going back to her own apartment. Now she had to actually live there, not just use it for Instagram. Denise was nearly impossible. She'd either follow me, shouting and crying that I was destroying everything, or she'd try to get my dad to stop me. When he finally told her he wanted a divorce or separation, she totally lost it, destroyed furniture and plants, vandalized walls, and left my dad emotionally devastated. Ultimately, her sister came and took her in temporarily. My dad stayed. He was full of apologies, saying he was sorry for letting Denise treat me badly and for not being a better parent. He's now looking for a small apartment and promised to help with bills until he moves. Now it's just me and him in a much quieter and emptier house. I know on paper I did the right thing, but everything feels broken. I have the house and the peace I so badly wanted, but I'm alone, and there's no family left. Was this my only choice? Am I terrible for breaking apart my family to save myself, especially considering Denise's breakdown? I'd really like your perspective. Update 1, about 2 weeks later. Thanks to everyone who commented on my first post. I've read your messages and appreciate the support. Some of you wanted details about why my dad let things slide for so long. It's complicated. My dad has never liked confrontation, and after my mom died, he just wanted peace. When Denise came along with her big personality, he let her run things. He just worked long hours and said little at home. If Denise blew up at me, he just tried to smooth things over, never standing up for me. He's now admitted he was wrong, a coward, his word, and started seeing a therapist. As for Denise's extreme behavior, it was always there, but got worse over the years. When I was small, she would just ignore me if I didn't do what she wanted, or tell my dad I was difficult. The older I got, the more explosive her reactions became, from screaming fits to physical stuff, like pulling my blankets off when I was ill, or ripping up my mom's books. She even locked me out in the rain once when I was 15, after I was late home from work because of a delayed bus, said I was disrespectful and needed to learn a lesson. I had to apologize to get back in, just to keep things calm. Tyler never stood up for me. He mostly stayed in his room, and Rachel was Denise's little clone, making fun of me or complaining about me. Tyler just didn't care as long as he had a free ride. It took a long time, and all of your comments helped me realize there was no way things were normal. I didn't kick everyone out just because of Denise's rent demand, but because of 10 years of being erased. Maybe finding the papers was fate. I briefly considered just telling them I owned the house, hoping things would get better, but when I overheard Denise plotting to get me thrown out, I knew it would never stop. A few of you asked about how the eviction played out. The process was stressful and full of drama. Denise screamed and cursed and threatened to call Child Protective Services on me, which makes no sense since I'm an adult. She alternated between frosty silence and muttering threats when I passed. About a week after serving the notice, things escalated further. Denise cornered me in the kitchen, started calling me disgraceful, telling me my mom would be ashamed, and then grabbed a big kitchen knife, not pointing it at me, but waving it around. She started talking about ending her own suffering. My dad intervened and calmed her down, but it was terrifying. The next day, she pretended nothing had happened. When it finally turned legal, Denise hired a lawyer and claimed I was incompetent and she had a right to stay because she'd contributed to the house. The court had none of it. My documents and the audio of her planning to frame me out made everything clear. The day Tyler left, he got in my face, called me pathetic, punched a large hole in his bedroom door, and stormed out. Rachel had an all-out tantrum, tried to claim the living room's small television as hers, and when I told her it was a gift to me from my grandparents, she smashed it. Denise's last days saw her chopping down my grandma's beloved rose bushes, cutting out all the dead things, bleaching the flowers, and finally, before she left, scrawling hateful insults inside her bedroom closet. She stomped out, spat on the welcome mat, and never looked back. My dad cleaned up the messes, replaced the damaged doors, repainted, and promised to cover the costs. It was an ugly, exhausting process, but it's finally silent now. Still, every loud noise makes me jump. Update 2, about 6 months after the original post. A lot has happened since then. About 4 months ago, my dad moved into a nearby apartment after helping repair the door Tyler smashed and the TV Rachel broke. We also repainted everything and replanted in the garden. The house feels huge and empty with just me in it. I blocked both Tyler and Rachel on social media after Rachel started posting about family betrayal, and I started getting weird messages from her friends. My dad still hears from them occasionally. Tyler complains about his job at the store. Rachel's still finishing up school and asking for handouts. Denise is living with her sister and, judging by what I've heard, creating chaos there too. She fights with her sister's husband, doesn't help, and complains constantly. My dad and Denise's divorce is in progress. She actually tried to claim my house as a marital asset, but my lawyer showed them the trust documents, and that argument died fast. I've been focusing on school, got a promotion at my job, and started making the house mine. I rebuilt the backyard bird bath, my grandma's favorite, bought new garden stuff, and even painted the rooms in my choice of colors. About a month ago, Denise actually showed up at my door, banging, then crying and yelling for me to let her in. I didn't open up and called my dad, who told her to stay away from my property. Since then, I changed the locks just in case. My dad's doing okay, therapy is helping, and we meet for dinner sometimes, but there's a distance between us that wasn't there before. Maybe it was always there, just covered by drama. So that's where I am now. I did what I had to. This house is mine. I have peace and quiet, but it feels more like a wound just now. I'm not planning on more updates. This is just my life as I try to start living it. Thanks for listening. Seriously. This story ends right here. This story highlights how unresolved family trauma and misplaced loyalties can simmer for years, twisting everyone involved. When you finally claim what's yours, you might get the quiet you need, but sometimes at the cost of the very family you hoped to rebuild. I've got a question for you. What would you have done? Would you have evicted your own family or tried to make it work, no matter how toxic things had become? Let me know in the comments.